The Biden administration is reportedly considering shutting down another U.S. pipeline, even as gas prices are surging. And as the White House admits Americans will have to pay more to heat their homes heading into winter.
Joining us now, Congressman Carlos Gimenez, House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee member. And Congressman, you're the perfect person to talk to about this because of that committee you sit on. We're talking about Line 5, which transports 540,000 barrels of crude oil from Canada to Michigan every day. And apparently the Biden administration is considering having that pipeline go the way of the Keystone Pipeline because indigenous tribes don't want the pipeline there. But all of this, Congressman, is happening amid a drastic surge in gas prices.
Yeah, it's insanity. Look, we cut the Keystone Pipeline. Now we're thinking of cutting another pipeline with over over 500,000 barrels a day of crude oil coming into the United States, and then he goes overseas and then he begs OPEC to produce more oil. It makes absolutely no sense. Just like everything this president's done, and every sector makes no sense whatsoever. And so, who's going to pay for it? It's going to be the poor and the middle class. Their gas prices all of our gas prices are going to go up, and when all of our gas prices go up, or when all of our energy prices go up, everything goes up. That means inflation goes up. And so again, this is incredible. It's just one thing after another thing after another thing, and then the president wonders why people don't like him too much.
And then when you talk about the gas prices going up and inflation, that brings us to this. It's the infrastructure bill that was passed on Friday. So they just passed that infrastructure bill, but yet they haven't really clarified exactly how this, as well as the BBB bill, is going to be paid for. So you've got all of this money coming out of taxpayer pockets. My question for you is the 13 Republicans who voted in support of that infrastructure bill, which infrastructure is great if it's infrastructure, but there is obviously more in that is not infrastructure. Do you think that these Republicans who voted in support of that bill are going to feel the price of that? The ones who are at least going to be up for re-election are going to feel that at the polls.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh Bashimi, Habashai, Bashim Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noahs in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh Bashimi, Habashai, wherever it may be. Staki Mahaloya, coming back with another lesson, Lord, will be edifying. It says Biden considers shutting down pipeline amid surging gas prices report, which is going to lead into another spike and increase in fuel consumption and gas prices. Also, like they were going into inflation, well, hyperinflation, because now the price of goods and crude oil and certain commodities that's a necessity for the people are going to be outrageous, possibly by winter. Now, if you look at what he's doing, man, he's systematically and deliberately planning these particular moves to put people in dire straits, man, so they can, comply to the, what. At least that's what I'm getting from it. But this guy made a very interesting point, and he had to go back and correct himself if y'all didn't catch it. He says that the middle class and the poor will have to pay for this, but he hurried up and redacted and said, well, all our gas prices is going to increase, which, in fact, the rich, they're not going to pay a damn thing because, that's the whole concept. The rich get rich off the backs of the poor, which middle class is considered poor. Okay, middle class is the upper echelon of the poor class, but yet they're able to sustain both. It's kind of like a table and legs. You got the table, you got the flat part of the table, or the table itself that's holding the board, but you got the legs that's giving it the support, while the jackals and while the vultures eat at the table. And that's kind of what's going on here. And the guy said, well, he wonders why people don't like him so much. But you got to understand, the scriptures say that they're like the deaf adder that stop at their ear, or that close at their ears. So yeah, they hear the complaints, but this man is hell-bent on doing evil. It's why we told you that the so-called white man is in fact the devil that the Bible talks about. And if you don't believe us, then just take a look at his history and look at what he's doing to the planet Earth, man. Okay, because no matter what we say, we're not convincing, the masses of the people. The people just got to find out on their own that Esau is nothing but a devil. And this guy, Creepy Joe, or Creepy Jim Crow Joe, is doing what he's told by the executive bankers or the elite bankers. Okay, they're giving him the go-ahead to totally close the door on Babylon, which is going to lead into amid food crisis, shortages, hiking gas prices, man, geopolitics at an all-time high with war and strategic planning, a loss of the economy and economic growth. Okay, mortgages, percentage rates getting higher and higher by the different quarters of the years. People are going to find themselves paying more money that their dollar is buying very little, because the purchasing power of the dollar is pretty much next to none. Okay, and this is Bible prophecy, like the scripture goes into how labor pains, how things and contractions come close and close because the baby is getting ready to be delivered. So I'm gonna play the rest of this video and we're gonna get a couple of precepts and we'll leave it at that. So Lord's will, you be edified. Here we go.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to comment on my fellow Republicans. I'm going to comment on what the Democrats are going to try to do. They're going to try to push another 1.8, but actually more like $4 trillion bill, 80,000 new IRS agents, and I'm confident. I'm very confident that no Republican is going to be voting for that. So let's see if there are some Democrats that vote that down. Actually, my hope is only in the Senate. I think that our hope lies with Senator Manchin. I do believe the Democrats will rally and pass and ram that bill through. Again, $4 trillion, according to Warden, 80% rise in taxes for all Americans, according to the Warden School. Again,
everybody just
will
said
rally and pass and ram that bill through. Again, $4 trillion, according to Warden, 80% rise in taxes for all Americans, according to the Warden School. Again. And there's so many things in that bill which are outrageous, and again, not paid for. All of this debt accumulating. Look, this infrastructure bill
that's what, like Apostle Ramla was going into. He basically, debt is used as a weapon. Okay, that's why they have all these debt programs out here, consolidating debt, bankruptcy. You got to pay this back, that back. Debt is a weapon, man. Okay, because ultimately people they work their whole entire lives to get out of debt, but never find themselves able to. Like a lot of times people that file bankruptcies, 9 times out of 10, if you filed the bankruptcy, down the line, you will end up filing it again. Okay, because this is a credit-based system which deals with debt. That's what the whole concept of the dollar is, a debt note. So as long as you're using this devalued currency and this fiat currency, you're going to continue to accumulate debt. Regardless, interest rates, is no way in hell that a person could pay back a 28% interest rate. Like when you get those payday loans, you have amount of weeks to pay that back before the interest is phenomenal. Like if you get a credit card, if you pay it off within 30 days, then there's no interest rates. But the whole thing to get you is to give you an exceptional spending limit. Let's just say if you got a $30,000 credit limit, the more credit they give you, the more you're going to go crazy, but you're going to have to pay that bill followed by interest. Yeah, you may be able to buy shit, you max them out, but regardless of it is, you're going to have a healthy bill. And that's how this system operates. It's credit-based, debt-based, okay? So anyway, as a matter of fact, let me find that. Charge them that are rich in this world. Yep, 1 Timothy 6:17. It says here, charge them that are rich in this world that they may not be high-minded, nor trust in uncertain riches, but in the living power who giveth us richly all things to enjoy. Okay, and this is really going into you Israelites, man. You guys out there that like I got to get the bag. I got to get the bag. Well, we're charging Esau, Edom, and the elites to this world according to their riches because he's gotten you Israelites believing in uncertain riches. He's gotten you Jakes basically selling your soul to get the American dollar or the greenback, which is basically, it's not worth anything. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to find out that if you ever did the research on the Weimar Republic, I believe this is like shortly before Hitler, you're going to see that the money was so devalued to the point people were taking stacks of money and lighting them on fire and using them to keep themselves warm. Because that was basically how devalued their currency was during the time of the Weimar Republic. Okay, and we're looking at the same bold-faced scenario and the fact that he's cutting crude oil prices and going to the Middle East and begging them for extra oil. It's confusion, man, okay? Like, gas haven't been this high in years. Like, when I moved to Missouri, gas was $3.31. That was a huge break in difference from where I come from, because when I lived in Chicago, gas was goddamn almost $5, man. You know what I'm saying? So $3.31, that wasn't really too bad. But ultimately, Now gas is what, back at $3.15 on average, you know, and it's pissing a lot of people off because they don't want to pay all that damn money. All right, so I'm gonna finish the video and I'm gonna get a couple of precepts. So here we go.
Past has over $400 billion that nobody knows how it's going to get paid for. All of that's going to fall on us. It's going to fall on our children. It's going to fall on our grandchildren to pay off. And then all the way they fundamentally want to change America. The infrastructure bill, okay. But this new bill that they want, that's the one really we need to stop. And hopefully none of my Republican colleagues will vote for that outrageous bill.
Yeah, Congressman, on the social spending package front, I guess a lot is riding on the CBO score. Because if the CBO comes out and says that it's going to create this massive deficit, you're going to have moderate Democrats in the House and, of course, in the Senate saying, we can't do this. So how likely is this thing really going to...
So what you think going to happen if they pass this $1.2 trillion bill? Things are going to go up because they don't have it. Okay? Things are going to go up. The more money they print, the higher the interest rates, the more shit goes up. It's called inflation, man. Okay? It's called inflation. So let's get this. The book of Revelation, 6th chapter. And I'm going to start at verses... Let's start at verses 5. It says, and when he had opened the third seal, I heard the third beast say, come and see. And I beheld, lo, a black horse, and he that sat on him had a pair of balances in his hand. And I heard the voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, and 3 measures of barley for a penny. And see that thou hurt not the oil and the wine. Okay, with the oil and the wine, that's the elect, man. That's the Israelites. Okay, that's us out here on the highways and the byways. All right, it says hurt not the oil, because the Most High is he's gonna take care of us, man. Okay, because you got a balance of good and bad. So therefore, you're gonna have these wicked doers getting jacked up through famine, pestilence, you know, all sorts of demonic synergies and so forth. But the elect, we're gonna be fed in that day. That's why it says here, see that they hurt not the oil and wine. And it says, and when he had opened the fourth seal, I heard the voice of the four beasts say, come and see. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse. And his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and with hunger and with death and with the beasts of the earth. Okay, so understand, when this happens, it's going to lead to mass food shortages, which actually there's no shortages. They're just hoarding it. They're sieging everything because they want to use it as an opposition of control. Okay, when you control food, you control the people. Okay, so they're using these things to kind of get people to bow down. Like this guy Klaus Schwab said, he says that you're going to own nothing and you're going to be happy about it. So this is what he's doing. He's basically taking the buyer's market out of people's hands and causing them to be overconsumed in the products they're getting to the point they won't own anything. Because this whole new age of transhumanism, like you got this guy Zuckerberg that's starting up what he called Meta, which is basically his new Facebook thing. It's called Meta, which deals with basically transhumanism and AI and so forth and avatars. That's the world they want. Okay, they don't want you to be independent on anything. They want you to be subservient on them. They want you to serve them, and they want you to depend on them for everything. They don't want ownership in the people's hands because they have too much power to come against them. So this is the reason why they buying everything up. Why, like they established a monarch during the time of the Roman Empire. You had what they called a monarchy, when you have the top echelons of government or the elites at that time that owned and monopolized everything. So therefore, the people will have to continue to go to them to buy their foods and their goods. That's how you keep classes of people. You set up a monarch and you divide the wealth among the rich. You keep the poor coming to you to support you, and that's how you get richer. It's a cleverly devised scheme, man. Okay, it's a solution Esau's been using for years. All right. So anyway, I think that is pretty much. Matter of fact, I got one more precept. Then I'll end it there. This is the book of 2nd Esdras. And this wasn't intended on being long. It just, the spirit kind of caught my eye. Spirit growled on it, said go into it. So this is what we're doing. But anyway, this is the book of 2nd Esdras 16. And I'm going to start at verses. Let's start at verses 36. Matter of fact, let's start at verses 35. It says, hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. You servants, the men of the Lord, the prophets. All right. We ought to understand what's happening in the world. This is why Yahweh Shai say, pray, therefore watch and pray always. All right, because you don't want this day to overtake you as a thief. Like a lot of guys in this truth, they're going to get overtaken because they're not focused on the prophecies. It says, behold, the word of the Lord. Receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. But behold, the plagues draw nigh and not slacked. As when a woman with child in the 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains can pass her womb, which pains when the child come forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth. And the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it, upon every side. So what you're seeing now is a setup for a great fall. Okay, it's a setup for people to be in involuntary servitude to the elites. That's all it's about. This is the NWO. All right. So anyway, I'm gonna end it there. All praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles, the elders of Great Millstone. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. With that, shalom and ball.
Have you seen this space-age roofing product that lowers energy bills without solar panels or batteries?
But I wouldn't hold my breath thinking that these moderate Democrats are going to be voting against the bill. I could be proven wrong. I hope I'm proven wrong. But I think really the hope lies in the Senate right now.
Okay, and really quickly, we've got about 20 seconds or so. Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, he was seen breaking Puerto Rico's strict mask rules while he was celebrating the passage of that infrastructure bill. In 15 seconds or so, do you think this is why we're seeing such a pushback on these mask mandates around the country?